What if the most pivotal moment in human history never happened? Imagine a single choice, a single act of defiance that never was. A word of temptation spoken into the void, met not with curiosity, but with a simple, unwavering no. There is no bite, no fall from grace, no expulsion from paradise. What would we be if we had never been broken? What would a world without a single scar look like? This is the story of a humanity that never disobeyed, a timeline of perfect obedience. And it may not be the paradise you imagine. The story is etched into the consciousness of a vast portion of the world. A garden, a man and a woman, a serpent, and a tree. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The one prohibition in a world of infinite permission. We all know how the story goes. A moment of doubt, a persuasive argument, and a bite of fruit that unleashes sin, suffering, and death upon all of creation. It is the foundational narrative of the human condition, a story of loss, of exile, and of a long, arduous journey back toward grace. But what if we could rewind the tape? What if, in that critical moment, Eve had looked at the serpent, heard its whisper, and simply turned away? What if she and Adam, together, had chosen to trust the one simple command they were given over the allure of forbidden knowledge? In this alternate timeline, humanity never falls. The Garden of Eden doesn't become a lost memory, it becomes the blueprint for the entire world. We will journey into this world, a world without pain, without fear, without death. We will explore a humanity that walks with its creator in a state of perpetual innocence, and in doing so, we will be forced to ask ourselves some profound and uncomfortable questions about the nature of perfection, the meaning of free will, and whether a life without struggle is a life truly lived. To understand this alternate world, we must first immerse ourselves in the original design. The Garden of Eden wasn't just a place, it was a state of being. The scriptures describe a reality of perfect harmony. Adam and Eve felt no shame, no fear. Their work was not toil, but joyful cultivation. The natural world was not something to be conquered, but a kingdom to be tended with gentle dominion, and most importantly, they had a direct, unfiltered relationship with their creator. Imagine walking in the cool of the evening and having a conversation not with a priest or through a holy text, but with the very source of existence itself. The central axis of this world was the two trees. The tree of life, which granted immortality, was freely available. Its fruit was a constant affirmation of their eternal existence. And then there was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It was not inherently poisonous. The command was not, "Do not eat, for the fruit is toxic." But, "Do not eat, for on the day you eat of it, you will surely die." The prohibition was a test of trust, of obedience. It was the one single point of friction in an otherwise frictionless existence. The one opportunity to choose something other than God's will. In our timeline, that choice was made. But in the world we are exploring now, the choice was different. The serpent makes its case. It speaks of wisdom, of being like gods. And Eve, she simply says no. Adam affirms her choice. The test is passed. The serpent, its power nullified by simple trust, slinks away, its temptation a failed gambit. The great fracture never occurs. What happens the day after, and the century after, and the millennium after that? The first and most profound change is the absence of the curse. There is no pain in childbirth for Eve and her daughters. The process is one of joy, not agony. For Adam and his sons, the ground is not cursed with thorns and thistles. Cultivation remains a fulfilling, effortless act of co-creation with nature. Humanity, commanded to be fruitful and multiply, begins to fill the earth. But there is no death. The tree of life is accessible to all. No one ages past their prime. No diseases ravage their bodies. No accidents can claim them. They are immortal, physically perfect beings. Generations are born into this state of grace. The concept of sin is purely theoretical. A story told about a strange, talking animal and a choice their first parents made correctly. There is no shame, no guilt, no envy, no greed. Why would there be? In a world of infinite abundance and eternal life, what is there to covet? Everyone's needs are met. The earth, a global Eden, provides freely. Society, as we know it, would be unrecognizable. There are no laws, for there is no crime. No governments, for there is no need to regulate conflict or distribute scarce resources. No armies, for there is no concept of war. Humanity exists as a single, sprawling, peaceful family, all sharing a direct, personal communion with their Creator. Let's imagine a family in this world, 10,000 years after Eden. A mother gives birth to her 20th child. She feels no pain, only a profound sense of creative joy. Her older children, all of whom appear as young adults, gather to welcome the new sibling. There is no jealousy, only love. The father, who has spent his day not toiling but artistically shaping a river's path to create a new waterfall, joins them. Their home is not a structure built to defend against the elements, but a living part of the landscape, woven from trees and stone in perfect harmony. What about progress? What drives innovation in a world without problems? Science would not be a tool for survival, but an act of worship. Astronomy would be the reverent observation of the Creator's celestial artistry. Biology would be the joyful cataloguing of an endless variety of life that never goes extinct. Technology would not be driven by a need for efficiency or control, but perhaps by aesthetics. Imagine engineering that focuses solely on creating more beauty, more intricate music, more complex patterns of light and water. Art, too, would be fundamentally different. Without the raw material of suffering, heartbreak, loss, injustice, mortality, what would art express? It would be an art of pure, unadulterated praise, music of perfect harmony with no dissonant notes to resolve. Sculpture capturing flawless forms, stories not of conflict and redemption, but of endless peace and discovery. It would be beautiful, perfect, and perhaps, to our eyes, static. A world of endless, serene contentment. As humanity expands across the planet, and perhaps even to the stars, it carries this unbroken peace with it. 1 trillion beings, all immortal, all innocent, all living in a state of blissful, childlike grace. Contemplating this perfect world forces us to look in the mirror. It reframes our own reality. We see suffering not as a meaningless bug, but as a fundamental feature of our existence. This thought experiment acts as a lens. When we look at our own world through it, we are forced to ask, what have we gained from the fall? It's a controversial, almost heretical question. The traditional answer is nothing. We gained death and pain, but did we gain anything else? By losing an external, audible communion with God, we were forced to develop an internal one, faith. By being cast into a world of struggle, we were forced to develop resilience, courage, and determination. The existence of evil necessitated the invention of its opposite, conscious, chosen virtue. Compassion has no meaning in a world without suffering. Forgiveness is an irrelevant concept in a world without transgression. This is the reason why Jesus Christ entered the world to help us develop deep inner faith. Sacrifice is impossible in a world without loss. Humanity was lost to Satan, who became the evil god of this present dark system. Jesus Christ entered our world to restore the freedom of our foreparents. The entire tapestry of human drama, the stories that inspire us, the struggles that define us, the moral complexities that sharpen our minds and spirits, is predicated on the existence of the very things the fall unleashed. This alternate timeline holds up a mirror and asks us to evaluate the cost of our own knowledge, our own freedom. This brings us to the deepest philosophical paradox of this obedient world, the problem of free will. Adam and Eve made a choice. They chose obedience. But what about their descendants? Born into a world without temptation, without the knowledge of good and evil, is their goodness a choice, Or is it simply their default state? If you have never known anything but peace and contentment, can you truly be said to be choosing it? Free will is often defined by the capacity to choose the lesser path, to make the wrong choice. In this Edenic humanity, the serpent has been defeated. The tree of knowledge may still stand, but it's a historical monument, its threat neutralized. Without a genuine, ever-present possibility of choosing evil, does free will atrophy? Does humanity become a race of beautiful, perfect, happy automatons, eternally locked into a good program they never wrote? This challenges our very definition of perfection. Is perfection a static state of being, an absence of flaws? Or is perfection a dynamic process, a journey of becoming? Our entire concept of character is forged in the crucible of adversity. We learn patience by being forced to wait. We learn courage by facing our fears. We learn wisdom by making mistakes. A humanity that never makes a mistake, that never faces fear, that never has to wait for anything. What kind of character would it have? It would be a humanity of profound innocence, but perhaps an innocence that is indistinguishable from ignorance. The knowledge of good and evil was a terrible price to pay, but it was knowledge. It opened a spectrum of experience that, while containing the deepest valleys of suffering, also contains the highest peaks of chosen love, selfless sacrifice, and hard-won redemption. So, we are left with two portraits of humanity. One is the world that could have been, a perfect, painless, deathless existence. A world of eternal peace, beauty, and communion with the divine. A humanity living as a single, harmonious family, forever innocent, forever content. There is no suffering, but also no courage. There is no sin, but also no redemption. There is no fear, but also no faith. It is a perfect world, but its perfection is static, a finished painting to be admired but never changed. And then there is our world, the world born of disobedience. It is a landscape of scars, defined by struggle, pain, and the certainty of death. It is filled with injustice, conflict, and loss. But it is also a world where compassion, forgiveness, and sacrifice are the most meaningful forces in the universe. It is a world where character is built, not given. Where love is not a default setting, but a daily, conscious choice, often made in the face of great difficulty. Where free will is a messy, dangerous, and glorious reality exercised every single day. The thought experiment of a humanity that never disobeyed doesn't give us easy answers. It leaves us with a profound, unsettling question. Was the fall of man an unmitigated tragedy? Or was it, in some mysterious way, the necessary birth of humanity as we know it? A painful, terrifying step out of the cradle and into a universe of moral consequence. A universe where the choice to be good actually means something. Perhaps the greatest gift wasn't a life without struggle, but the freedom to struggle, and in doing so, to truly, freely choose to love. What do you think? Is a world of perfect, painless innocence preferable to our world of struggle and free will? Which humanity is truly more alive? This is a conversation worth having. And if you enjoy exploring these deep, challenging questions, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the what-ifs of history, philosophy, and the human condition.